All right, so we have the Hope for the Warriors podcast. I'm Kate Dudley, a military spouse and your host, and we are coming to you from the Hudson River. Beautiful day. And I have Tyler Gray and AJ Buckley, so this is a super special episode with you guys coming on, the two fake SEALs, doing your podcast. You've allowed me to kind of infiltrate a little bit, utilize the equipment, which I appreciate so much because this is so fun for me too. So thank you guys for being on today.
Our pleasure.
We are very grateful here, and we literally just scoffed down.
Yeah, I'm gonna wash it down.
Yeah, we literally with some First Form. First Form should be a sponsor of yours.
Okay, noted.
We quaffed down that
quesadilla. That was amazing.
And Judd, who's running around here, he got just a straight cheese quesadilla, like a child.
I didn't know you were a communist.
Just straight.
Who gets just a cheese quesadilla?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what my toddler has when we go to
True story.
restaurants.
So when him and I were in Spain, and we go by, we have all these places to eat, and Judd goes, "We should go to Five Guys." I was like, I go Five Guys, and truthfully, I've never heard of Five Guys at this point. I go, "What's Five Guys?" No, at the time I'd never heard of Five Guys, and he goes, "Dude, you never have been to Five Guys?" I was like, "No," and I'm thinking, this is like the English transversion of like a translation of a Spanish restaurant, and he's like, "Yeah, Five Guys." So we walk up, and I'm like, "Huh?" And I look at the thing, and I'm like, "This is an American burger place." It's like one of our first meals, and he brings me to Five Guys,
Yeah.
and he's just like,
that defines Judd right there.
and he goes, they go, "What would you like?" And he's like, "Cheese, meat, bun."
What's the point of going to Five Guys
know,
with just
like,
cheese
what?
and meat?
I was like, we were in Barcelona.
Yeah.
We were in Barcelona. Judd, it was
Yeah.
Barcelona.
Picking Five Guys in Spain.
That was our
Good work,
first
Judd.
meal.
Is it Senko Guys?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, "Oh, this is like a very very Spanish restaurant." And then I walk in, like it's got like LA Times articles photocopied on the wall. It's like best burger in LA. What the fuck?
Nice.
So, but we're grateful here to be on your podcast and to be here at this event. And this is it's like a big family here at Hope for Warriors.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you guys coming on today, and I appreciate the quesadilla situation because I'm very excited about trying that after.
Yeah.
It's been a long day on the boat, on the river. Beautiful day for it, though. Can you just tell me about your experience out there? What was it like on the boats with the service members today?
You go first, buddy.
Yeah. So we went north pretty far. We didn't catch. We only caught one fish, which was the Flint, 11-year-old name.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Finch.
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 Damn it, Finch. Yes.
Yeah.
Finch caught the 32-inch striped bass. I think.
Yeah.
And so that was the only fish we caught because the rain made the water muddy, as obviously you guys all know. But yeah, that was cool seeing him catch the fish. I actually saw that he had something on the line, so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do something to make myself useful." So I started filming it, which I got like everything. I got him working it. I got it in the water. I got them pulling it out with the net. So
You have to send that to me because I would love to see
I'll
that.
show it to you.
Interstitial into the-
I was happy with myself just because I filmed it. So he caught the fish, but I was happy that I was like, "Oh, film." So I got his whole process of from the minute he knew something was on the line. So I was happy I was able to film that for him. But yeah, we had a great time on the boat, and it was awesome. I was on the boat with I can't think of his name. I'm so bad with names, but he was talking about like medications, and I was like, and he was talking about like heart. Blood pressure medications, and I was like listening to him. He was the captain of the boat. And I'm like, it's like, man, this guy knows a lot about blood pressure medication.
Stocky guy tattoos with the gold chain on?
No, he had like the red tie-dyed looking type shirt. But anyway, the whole point is I'm like listening to him talk about blood pressure
was
medication.
that Doc?
Yes.
Yeah, with the dog.
So that's the whole point. So I'm like, man, he knows a lot about medications. And then it turns out he's a doctor.
That guy's a doctor?
Yeah,
He's
that's
a
why
doctor.
his nickname's
No
Doc.
way.
He looks like a hippie. I was
He
like,
was with the dog, and he was like,
That-
that guy was trash talking and fishing?
he's a doctor.
my God.
Which I just thought was hilarious because I was like, man, he knows a lot about drugs.
How did those guys get involved?
I have no idea, but I will say I learned a story about Doc today that apparently he only eats cheese and pepperoni.
That's it?
And that's it, yeah. And so does the dog.
And he's got a mullet, like.
And he's a
I
doctor.
mean, his mullet is like, I'm telling you this, if you're ever sick and you go to like some walk-in clinic and your doctor walks through the door with a mullet like that, wearing tie-dye, you know you're going to get better.
Yeah. It's going to be a holistic approach.
You are going to be just fine.
Yeah, it's like, no drugs. All holistic.
Yeah, but there was the guy, who's the really tall guy he had like the orange.
Oh, the green overalls?
Yeah.
You're colorblind. I don't remember his name, but he also knew a freakish amount about like water and.
Well, he's like, that's his job. He's a fisherman.
No, he knew way more than a fisherman about like.
Does he know like pH balances? And,
No,
like, acidity?
he actually said he like consults on like.
Oh, really?
Rainwater, like just crazy stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, super advanced, water dynamics, I guess, and that's what he said he gets paid, for, and fishing's more of a hobby. So yeah, very smart guy.
One of the cool things he said when I was talking to him over there, he said he's been here since the beginning, and every year he said what he was really excited about is every year that it gets just a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And it keeps growing and growing and growing. There's a couple more boats added, a couple more people could show up. And I think that's something, a testament to what you guys do. From the time that I've gone, Craig Conover invited me to come up to Hope for Warriors at the golf tournament. And it was such a great experience. And I'd heard about Hope for Warriors through Gary Sinise back in the day, through my buddy Dawson's Peak. And you guys were doing some... I'd introduced Dawson to Gary, and Gary and Hope for Warriors partnered up, and every dollar that Dawson had raised was split 50-50 while he was trying to break all these world records. But I'd heard of you guys from afar, and then getting you to go to the golf tournament and then coming back, and it just seems like it's that just the consistency of the message and the people that are surrounded, that there's just this growth. I think in anything when there's this like out of the gates, it's like boom, and it's just like bah, bah, it's so over the top. There's no heartbeat to what a foundation is or anything. And I think what's been great about yours, the people that have shown up always come back, but they come back with a friend. And then that person comes back with a friend. And it's so consistent in that each year, in such a grassroots organic way, it grows to what it is now and to what it will only become.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love seeing that because I think I talked to you 2 years ago at the Invitational.
Yep.
And was that your first event with Hope?
Yes, it was. It was my first real golf tournament.
Okay.
Too. As an Irishman, it's sad to say that, but
so you have not. That was your first.
Well, this is the thing. It was my first tournament playing as a lefty, because I taken a golf lesson. And they were like, "You're a left-handed player." And before the other player, the pro, was like, "You're a right-handed player." Because I played hockey left and I played baseball right. And I got problems in my brain. So
yeah, it's called dyslexia.
So
you're hand dyslexic.
Yeah, so it's like I can't figure it. Every golf pro, they're like left, right, left. So I bought a pair of left-handed clubs and played it. But then I had bought a pair of right-handed, and I didn't play any better. So I'm not good at golf. I love going to this tournament though because. Everybody's very forgiving and open to having somebody like me on the team.
Yeah, they're if they want to give a team a handicap, they put you on board.
It's me. It's AJ. Yeah, no, but we love. I love coming, and I was really pumped that Tyler could come experience this for the first time.
Yeah, I'm glad that you got to do that, and at the beginning, it's such a great day to start, and just the ceremony, and I love the family camaraderie. But I really thought it was great when Bobby Dove came up to speak and kind of tell a little bit about his story and Hope for the Warriors and his journey. Can you just speak about that? What was kind of going through your mind when he was up there talking about Hope and the mission and how it impacted him?
It's listening to him speak was interesting. I don't exactly know the phrase he said right off the bat. I don't remember, but it had to do with isolation, and it had to do with essentially actually kind of what I was talking about earlier, which was it's one thing to offer help or have an organization that offers help, but in order to give help, you have to have a person that's willing to receive it. And the mechanism that's built into the military is to not ask for help. And so and then isolation is a part of that. If you know that you need help and you don't want people to help you because you don't want to feel like you're taking, causing a burden, all these different things, then one way to balance that is to isolate, to just pull yourself, isolate away from everyone and not be in a position where people can see you, because if they see you, they're going to realize you need help and then they're going to try and help you. So I'll just isolate and not put myself out there, and that way I won't be a burden to anyone. And so listening to him speak was he mentioned about how the organization, for lack of a better term, pulled him out of isolation, and kind of was proactive in reaching out to him again, for lack of a better term. And I think that, the one thing, as I said earlier, in my opinion, there's a lot of organizations that are doing good things. But I would say the gap that could be filled better is organizations and institutions, military, I'm looking at you, understanding that they need to be able to reach out. It's not as simple as offering help. It's only, you can offer help, but you have to have a group of people that are willing to accept that help. And I think definitively most veterans would rather, I'll deal with it on my own. I mean, I did this for years. I'm speaking from personal experience. I did a documentary years ago, and there was a part in the documentary which quite frankly I didn't think was a big deal when I had diary footage that I'd recorded, and I gave the documentary filmmakers that footage, and quite frankly I didn't think it was a big deal. And now I look back and realize it was a big deal, because there's a part where my father calls me on the phone, and I was recording my diary. He happens to call me. I answer, and I'm literally on the video of this diary talking about how horrible things are, how miserable I am, all these problems I'm having. And then he calls me, and I answer the phone, and I don't turn off the thing, so it's still recording. And you don't hear his side, but you hear me go, "Oh, I'm fine."
Wow.
And now I look back, and I've had so many people tell me, "Man, that footage, that's me. I've done the same thing." And now I look back and go, I understand it was a moment of something that so many people are doing, which is struggle, struggle, struggle. But if you ask them, they'll tell you they're fine, And as anyone that has a girlfriend or wife knows, fine does not mean
fine is not fine.
I mean,
fine is never fine.
As a military wife, you've been through it, and so how was that for you?
I mean, it's been a challenge for a little bit, and that's one thing that Hope for the Warriors is so important to me in our journey, because it was really hard when he was saying he was fine and he wasn't fine.
What was your journey with Hope for Warriors today?
I was in sports television before, and I came over because my husband's active duty, and I was just kind of recognizing some of the mental health struggles that were occurring just in the big picture, not just him, but everybody. And it just seemed like a great fit for me to come over and be able to share these stories and tell these stories, because they're so important. And I feel like in a very small way, I'm making a difference in their lives. But after a couple months, we ran into some hard times, and he had to do what he needed to do. But Hope for the Warriors was there, for me and for us. And 2 years later, he's in a much better place. But it's very hard when someone won't admit that something's wrong, and as a spouse, you have to say, you need this, you need this help. But it's so easy to use other things to cover that up. But as a spouse, it's so easy when someone just says, I'm fine. At one point you say, no, you're not fine. We need to fix this. So Hope for the Warriors, it changed my life. It changed his life. And I mean, he was out there in the boat. today and having a great time. And he, you know, I was just on the phone with my mom talking about how wonderful he is as a man. So Hope for the Warriors has made a tremendous impact. But to see his life change that way and finally asking for help, and if it wasn't for Hope, he wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, and
So.
it's again, from an outsider who hasn't gone to war, but seeing how important it is, it's that first, to get somebody to ask for help, how, especially for men, because you're just not, you know, push down, and what you actually explained today earlier, you know, how the military sort of programs you not to. I didn't realize that, you know, which is such a fascinating awakening, that it's like you're sort of programmed to not do that, and then the sort of realization I had today is like, that's so crazy that you're programmed not to, but yet when you get out, they don't like reverse it and be like, now you can because you're fucked up from whatever happened.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
It's I didn't say this earlier. It's even, not only is it not okay, and not only is it all those things, but on top of that, it's really subtly kind of thrown out there that it's weakness.
Yes.
I shouldn't say subtly. It's blatantly thrown
very
out there
obvious.
that it's weakness. 100%. 100%. If you need help, you're weak. That's the perception. I understand it, because it's like, just think of it like a team sport. You're prepping a football team for, you know, the Super Bowl. It's like, it's all about winning and all about, you know, aggression. And there's no room for you to be like, oh, how do you feel? You know, it's like, I get it. That's not the point at that time. So it's all about projecting strength, and you want guys that are aggressive. I mean, it's war. You're going to kill other people and vice versa. So there is no room for weakness in that environment. And I get that. I totally get that. I get it, and I understand that they have to remove that weakness for that job. I get it. I have no problem with it, quite frankly, even. The problem I have is they should have a mechanism to start to reverse that toward, in an adjustment period at the end. I have that mentality keeps you alive in war. I get it, but it is destructive in a personal life when you're not at war. And for me personally, when I wasn't at war with someone else, and when I was at war with the enemy. When I got out, I still needed that war because that's what I was programmed for. So who do you think I went to war with? Myself. Because I had nothing outside. So just like two brothers, you know, they beat each other up, you know what I mean? As soon as another pair of brothers come along, they fight them. And then, you know, when other neighborhood kids come, they band together and fight them. That's just the way we're designed. So, for me, I went to war with myself, and I think that's very common for most veterans.
And I think even more so now, like why we're here with Hope for Warriors, why programs like this are so important, because even through this conversation today, realizing exactly that. I don't think the general population has any clue that that's what's going on, and that's such a great thing even for today. It was like with the light bulb, I'm like, wow, I've actually never understood that, and how even more important it is for foundations like Hope for Warriors to be here and to do what you guys do, and it's all based in such a strong foundation, of people that are here for the right reasons. The money goes to the guys and the girls and the families. You really see a real uptick in people, and that's always by design. It's like when you see that slow burn growth, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I think that's because the dollars are going to work.
Well, and you bring up something important to me that I advocate for, and that is a lot of organizations have raised a lot of money, and they are raising continuously awareness. And they talk about raising awareness, and we need to raise money for more awareness. And that was great 15 years ago. It's not okay now. I'm sorry, it's not okay. We don't need any more awareness. We don't. We need solutions. And people can talk, oh, we need to keep raising awareness. No, you don't. Because when you raise too much awareness, people, without solutions, people feel like it's unsolvable and it's unfixable. And you know what? There is no solution. I'm not even going to attempt it, right?
Yeah.
So I like that you guys are providing solutions. And, you know, it's not enough to tell a guy, hey, you need help. You know, you need to be aware that you need help. Like, you've got programs that are actually helping and doing something and finding solutions or working towards solutions rather than just raising awareness that there's a problem.
And I think what I've learned too with Hope Forward is you guys are very honest about the road ahead. Like, it's not like, hey, like, come in here and, you know, here's an app and, you know, or whatever it is. You're like, you actually, you know, are honest about, this is the plan, here's the structure, here's how we follow it, and here's how we get out of it. And by getting out of it, it means this first phase. There's going to be other battles ahead, but to have that foundation, I think, is so important, to have a home base to go to. You know, and then just, you know, seeing you talking to people today and hearing other people talking, and just people all come and tell their story, and it's like this little pressure valve is released from whatever is going on in their journey, and it's so needed in that, because for so long I feel men shouldn't have talked about their mental health. Men shouldn't cry. Like, once I had my daughter, I cried during American Idol. Every season. Every season. The top 3 that are coming out this week, I was devastated my boy Thunder was got out. I cried. But, you know, it's like, it's okay for men to cry.
But it's good for you to share that and
Yeah.
say that that's okay,
Yeah.
because that's like the much bigger issue with
Yeah.
men and boys, is that, you know, I'm raising a 4-year-old right
Yeah.
now, and it's like they grow up thinking that it's not okay to cry.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm trying to say it's okay to talk about your
Yeah.
feelings. It's okay, like, because I'm trying to kind of, in a small way, like, kind of flip the script that this is okay. But it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that so many, like, men, when they're younger boys, like, they're grown up to say, oh, you can't cry. Oh,
Yeah.
like, it's sad.
Well, it's a complex reason why. The short version, though, is that it's we say, like, oh, men can't cry, but I would argue the problem is much bigger than crying. And what I mean by that is, you know, I, as a young boy, felt it was not okay to feel any emotion at all. Any emotion was bad, and so I stopped feeling all emotion. And I perceived the lack of emotion as strength. And what I now know is that's not strength. Feeling emotion is strength. Stopping emotion is a weakness. And the reason it's a weakness is because no matter how much you think you can stop emotion, you cannot. It is going somewhere. It's going somewhere, and for most people, the more emotion they cut off from feeling, it's going somewhere in their body, and it's creating some level of unconscious, subconscious stress on the body until it's released. Emotion will fight the body until it is felt adequately. And so it's not, and the reason I'm just saying all this is not just about crying, it's about emotion in general. And I'm to the point now, I mean, I'm not good at emotion. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm working at it, but when you shut off emotion, all emotion, yeah, you shut off pain, great. Well, guess what else you shut off? Joy. You know, it's like I see people at church, you know, jumping up and down and clapping, and I look at them and go, it's not even theoretically possible that I could feel that to do that. I'm not capable of it because I shut that mechanism off so long ago to feel anything at all. So it's about educating, you know, young boys that you know, being a man is about feeling emotion, and that's okay. It's about adequately feeling emotion and giving everything the adequate feeling it deserves. But also, you know, if you are the type of person that didn't feel emotion for very long, which I'd say is probably many veterans, especially combat veterans, there's no time for emotion in war. There isn't. There's no time for emotion in most, you know, in a law enforcement job, in EMS, fighters, in medical. There's no time for emotion, but you're still feeling it. It's going in your body. You're just not allowing yourself to feel it. And I think we need to start to understand the mechanisms once we get out from those jobs on how to start letting emotion back in.
I love that you're using your platform to talk about mental health, and I just feel like having these conversations is so important. This conversation went on a complete different tangent.
That's how it goes. Yeah, that's
I was like, how did we get here?
Yeah, I told you, take the questions out and, per Tyler.
Next thing you know, emotionality. It's about emotionality.
Yeah.
We're going to deep dive.
Yeah.
The scene's about emotionality.
I will say you're not alone with American Idol. I cry at everything all the time. I also made Judd cry today already.
Judd cries all the time.
Yeah.
That's not rare.
It's just like a little bit.
right.
I'm sorry. I had to throw you under the bus
He
a
did.
little bit.
I mean, I went to the very. I looked over there. I'm like, that's not the wind because his wind's to the back.
Yeah, no, I mean, but to your point about the conversations, it's again, it's about talking and connecting, and you really, the way to connect is you have to. The only way you can connect is by being authentic and opening up about yourself, which then allows somebody else to go, oh, I recognize that in myself, and then you can have an honest conversation. Up until the point where, no one is going to be able to grow or progress if they don't share their own stories and their own authentic selves. And I think the key point that I've learned over time is the more this community is sharing with each other, the more it heals itself.
I mean, this is your first event in ever, right? Like in years that you've like first foundation, like.
Oh, yeah.
veteran
Well,
thing.
I mean, the SF charity thing we
But
just literally did.
No, but literally, but like this is like, that was such a different.
Oh yeah, it was very different. Yeah.
But-
No, I haven't been to an event like. Yeah,
I mean,
probably since 2000.
But in the last 2 weeks, I brought you two back to back.
I know, it's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I, look, on that note, I'll say, I feel guilty on, it's like listening to Bobby speak, I realize that I need to put myself out there more and work more with organizations like this. And, I love doing it. It's just it's so easy, I think, for the veteran community at large to go, oh, who am I? Like
You told me that one day too. I remember talking, and there's a realization about self-worth, right? That was a big.
Yeah, well, that's what I think is the core issue. But again, as I preach about it, and I still do it myself, where it's like, I'm not the guy. Somebody else can do that. Somebody else can, who am I to get up there and tell my story? Blah blah blah, things like that. And it's a disease that even when you're aware of it, it's still very hard to cure because it's so ingrained in the DNA of who you've been for so long. It's I was just talking earlier too. I have this mentality of, I think a lot of guys and girls have this mentality of the silent professional. Like silent professional. I do my time. I get out and I don't talk about it. I don't deal with it. I don't, I'm a silent professional. I did my job. It was about the job. I'm not looking for anything. That's it. Silent. And we were never supposed to be silent professionals. We were supposed to be quiet ones. And there's a big difference between silent and quiet. And if you are silent, you will never help anyone. You'll never help anyone because the way to help people is they have to know your story.
Yeah.
And they have to connect with it. They have to identify it. So the only way to help is you could be a quiet professional and help people, but you can't be a silent professional and help people.
Well, I think too, like outside looking in, listening to Bobby speak today up there, and sort of, knowing some of his story of like the road to get up there and speak, there's guys out there that saw that and or inspired by that, and in their darkest moment of where they are, they'll remember that. Guys that see you talk and know your story, that in their darkest moment will think of that. And there's those guys like that the more guys like you at your level that have been through it, that do fight through and have the balls to stand up and be vulnerable and tell the story, it allows more guys to then be like, you're right, I should be doing it.
level 10 ironic. And what's ironic is if you want people to stop listening to you or not listen to you, tell them how strong you are. Tell them how great you are. No one cares, no one will listen. If you want people to lean forward and listen to every word you say, start talking about how weak you are.
Yeah.
Start talking about how much you've failed. Start talking about how much you've struggled. And the irony is the way that I think men are raised today is we think it's the exact opposite. You know, oh, alpha, you know, and talk about how great I am and tough and all this stuff. No one cares. No one cares. And again, as soon as somebody starts talking about how great they are, I go, well,
It's me every day.
You know, yeah.
Tyler,
I mean, AJ. I mean,
Tyler,
I
just let you know,
in one ear, out the other.
the coolest person you ever met.
Yeah. but you know what I'm saying? It's like when people start sharing struggle, that's when people start listening, because that's when they start connecting, because everyone connects with struggle. Very few people connect with pure strength, because we all know that everyone makes mistakes, everyone's failed, all those different things. So the more we share our weaknesses, the more collectively we will gain strength. That actually made a lot of sense.
I really like that.
Thank you. I'm very
I like
proud.
that.
Put that one in the bank.
I was going to say, can we use that on Hope for the Warriors at some point?
I don't know what you said, but it's the first time.
Yeah, it's like I said it.
It's
I'm like,
going to be
I
on
don't
the
know
back
what I
of a
said,
shirt
but
at some
Most
point.
times, most
like
times on a podcast when he's talking, I
He
tune
tunes out,
I
yeah.
tunes out, but I was like, whoa, that.
It was, it's like that moment in what's that movie in Old School?
Oh, yeah.
When he goes. Remember Will Ferrell? Yeah. It's a square root inverted to the 2 to the 4. Yeah.
Well, I love that. And I love the conversation about connection. And I feel like that's a great way to sum up this event. Just seeing all the service members out there. And I know on my boat, there was so many just great random conversations that we're just chiming in on. And it was just so much fun, but just the trajectory of the conversations, would go into service and then we would just be talking about pizza.
Yeah.
You just never know, but it's like
this
so great.
podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We didn't know where it was going to go, but I just love that, Hope for the Warriors involves community and connection. And I'm just so glad that you guys are here this weekend. AJ, thank you for bringing Tyler along. Thank you for coming to the Invitational a
thanks
couple
for
of
having
years
us.
ago.
Yeah,
of course.
And I wanted to share with you, because I need to know if you noticed this. We did a huge group photo at the end of the day. Everyone's out standing in front of the Hudson River. Right as she took the shot, did you notice the bald eagle going across the river?
No, that's crazy.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
I feel like with Hope, and I say this all the time, everything happens for a reason, and there's just certain moments when you're just like, what?
Yeah.
And it was just like a lot of people did see it, and I'm going to make sure I see this in the photo, but as we took that photo, bald eagle. And I just feel like it sums up, because that's what Hope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's so many moments that are.
There's a train.
There's a train.
On
Yeah.
cue,
Well,
on
okay.
cue.
Well, the train did not time out well,
Yeah.
but that bald eagle did. And I'm gonna make sure you see the picture. So thank you guys so much,
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us. Appreciate it.
Bye.